be a master of Pokémon? Do you have the skills to be number one? I wanna take the ultimate step, find the courage to be bold, to risk it all and not forget the lessons that I hold.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 107 of the Pokemon Snapshot. How are you doing tonight, Josh?
I am horrible, Jeff. How's it going?
You sound horrible, but yeah, I'm gonna pull back the curtain a little bit. We've had to postpone this recording twice now because Josh has been under the weather and he still isn't perfect, but here we are for you guys.
I'm being propped up by cough medicine and Mucinex. So if you hear me hacking up a lung in the background, just know that's what it is. If my voice cracks more than my 8th graders, then you'll know what it is.
He is not going through puberty, folks. So what have you been up to? I see in our outline you said you've been watching some Dawson's Creek.
So Chelsea and I always I'll choose a show and we'll watch, and then she'll choose the show and we just go back and forth. And right after James Vanderbeek died, Chelsea said she wanted to watch Dawson's Creek because she used to watch it as a kid. And I was honestly okay with that because I wanted to return to a simpler time. I wanted the nostalgia and the innocence of the 90s. And then very first episode, one of the first major storylines in the show is one of the students sleeping with a teacher. And I was like, oh no, things haven't changed that much in 30 years.
That's awesome. I was watching a little bit kind of back in early 2000s or so, but Jesse, before we got on to record, I was sitting on the couch. I was playing my Switch, but I was getting bits and pieces of what she was watching. I guess there's this new documentary on Netflix about America's Next Top Model.
I already watched it. I've seen every season of America's Next Top Model. What are you talking about, bro? I've been there since the beginning.
That's right. Your trash reality is America's Next Top Model and The Bachelor and Bachelorette, where I am the Big Brother Survivor fan over here.
Yeah.
Which Survivor 50 starts the day after this episode goes live, so I'm excited for that.
Crazy.
50 seasons.
Wow. What have you been up to?
So I had to change it because it said still playing Pirate Yakuza, but I beat Pirate Yakuza.
Nice.
Last night. It was a good game. I gave my little mini review. If you guys are in the Discord, you can look at it there. I always like to just share what my thoughts of the games are that I've been playing and I beat. So now I'm just kind of waiting for Pokemon Pokopia, which interesting. So when that game was announced, I had no interest in it because it's not really my type of game. But then we brought the podcast back. So I'm like, you know what? I'll get it just because it's a Pokemon game. And so we can talk about it on the podcast since we talked about.
Yeah.
So I knew I didn't enjoy it, but it wasn't going to be like my favorite. But then a lot of outlets have been seeing previews of it. And now I am like all in on this game.
The biggest question I had about the game was it Pokemon Pokopia or Pokemon Pokopia? I didn't know.
Pokopia.
Okay.
But so I was worried. So sandbox games are not my thing. I need
some
direction.
Structure.
I need structure, direction. You can't play Minecraft, Terraria, can't get into those because there is no structure. Animal Crossing, the new one, I put a good amount of time into that, but they do have like your daily stamps and you have stuff you're looking for, like you have your things to do for the day. So that's what I was worried about. And this looks like this has structure. One of the guys I was listening to talk about it said, it'll be like your 25 to 40 hour game and you'll roll credits. So there is an ending to the game.
Okay.
And then for the people who are really into the building aspect of it, can keep playing. And what I also found was interesting, people kept relating it to Dragon Quest Builders, which I have never played Dragon Quest Builders, but people really like that game. And then come to find out, this is most of the team that is helping make this also made Dragon Quest Builders. So
cool.
I think that'll be a good thing. So I'm excited. In a couple weeks when it comes out, I'll be able to talk about it on the podcast about what I think of the game, and I hope it's a fun time.
Excellent.
So the game I was playing before we started recording is I'm back to Power Wash Simulator.
Like a true dad.
Like a true dad. I was playing it earlier today, and I looked at Jesse and go, we should get an actual power wash. She goes, well, you use, she goes, yeah, if you'll use it to power wash the house. And I said, as long as you stand behind me and ding every time I finish something.
What would happen? Power washing is fun unless you enjoy having a functional back. Because the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to feel very accomplished at the end of the day, and your back will be completely and utterly destroyed.
Well, I do not have a functional back, so that'll
Well,
be fun. But I'm excited. I want to try maybe in the next 2 weeks until Pokemon Pokopia comes out to beat Power Wash Simulator, because they have announced that version 1.2 is coming out in March and is going to come with a free level. And then
that's fun.
later in the spring, they have the Adventure Time DLC,
Nice.
which I'm not an Adventure Time fan, but I am a Power Wash Simulator fan, so I will get it because I am all in on this game.
You'll make it work.
Make it work. All right, so let's go into some Pokemon news. And so here's the funny thing, guys. Josh and I were recording on a Thursday night is our typical night. Last week we had to move it, and then they announced Pokemon Pinball. This week we had to move it. We originally moved it to Friday night again, and 3 a.m. Pokemon has an announcement on their app, on the Nintendo app. So we'll get to that's the last bit I want to talk about. But the two smaller things. Well, the first thing, I guess, I don't know if you can call it small, but Logan Paul sells his Pikachu Illustrator card for $16.5 million.
That's insane. What does
That
he
is
need
insane.
$16.5 million more dollars for? Dude's already got a bajillion dollars. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need $16.5 million.
Well, and as I said, he's in the WWE. We've talked about before. And this week on Monday Night Raw, he even mentioned selling it. And he goes, "You guys won't even know how much money that really is," to
He's
get
right about that.
what they call heel heat.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found some more information about the pinball game I wanted to bring up because this sounds awesome. So I guess the Stern Pinball Company has an app on your phone. So when you go to play pinball with Stern, you can log in kind of like with an account, and it will save your progress. And so if you go play this Pokemon machine somewhere else, the goal is to try to catch the Pokemon. It'll save which Pokemon you've caught throughout your progress. So that's really cool. Um, that is definitely going to make me want to play it more. And then the big news that was announced right Friday morning, 3 a.m., was that Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green is coming out February 27th. So next Friday on the Switch eShop for $19.99 each,
Yeah,
which,
everybody online was complaining that they were charging anything for it, and I'm like, do y'all know how capitalism works?
yeah, well, the reason people are complaining is that if you have the expansion pass through Nintendo Switch Online for $50 a month, or not a month, a year, you get Game Boy Advance games. So they're not
Mm,
putting it on that service, they're selling it separately. And it's not like an upres or anything. Which people are saying they might be doing this because Pokemon Company is very big on cheating and don't
mhm,
want you to cheat.
right.
And in the Switch Online apps, you can use save states and
Oh,
rewind. And so
yeah,
I don't think which, but but then I guess if they put it on there and then you couldn't go online because of that. So I can see where they were in a tough situation there.
right. Are those the ones where you go back to Kanto after you beat the game?
No, that's Johto,
Oh, okay.
Gold and Silver. These were the
Okay.
remakes of Red and Blue.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. This one started where Pokemon decided, hey, we can make more money remaking games we've already had come out.
Yep. It always comes back to capitalism.
All right, so let's go into our question of the week, which we had a lot of answers this week. So our question of the week this week was, what has humbled you? And had some answers on YouTube. Frosty Cow said, JJ's my little brother who demolished me. And if you go on our YouTube, I showed my age because I'm like, demolished you and what? And then thank you, Strongest Muffin, who's like one of our big fans. He explained to me, JJ's is a Roblox thing based on the anime Jujutsu Kaisen. So, or Juice, I'm saying that wrong. It's based on an anime. And so
I don't even honestly know what Roblox is. I thought it was like Minecraft.
I don't know. We do not let Kyrie play Roblox because the CEO of Roblox is not a great person.
Well,
But I'm not going to judge any of you kids out there. Just be safe.
yeah.
This next one, Tribauer, that's how I'm going to pronounce it, says Age of Empires 2. As a kid, I demolished everyone in my friend group. Then the definitive edition came out and I played ranked. I've never played Age of Empires 2. Those real-time strategy games, I wish I could get into them. Like Civilizations look so cool. And then,
Yeah. I liked Age of Empires back in the day, but I was trash back then, so I know I would be trash now.
yeah, because people who play those games just usually if it's Age of Empires Civilization, that's the game you play.
Mm-hmm.
A Neon Rider said definitely archery, was at a historical site thinking I show off and I hit 1 arrow out of 4.
25% ain't bad. I would have hit 0%. So
Yeah, archery is a tough skill. In fact, when I was in college and I worked at a summer camp, one of the things we did was archery. One day I was teaching archery and I was showing them, look, you knock the arrow like this, you pull back like that, and then I let go and my arrow went shoop. So I have nothing. Archery is not my strong suit, and I was teaching it.
you drew the short straw or the short arrow that day.
When I was in middle school, I learned that if you dock the arrow in the wrong way, the arrow just curves. So fun facts there. Space Sylveon said the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. I've never played the Yu-Gi-Oh card game.
Me either.
People collected it when I was in school, but I don't know of anyone who actually played it.
That's how I am with Pokemon. I don't know anybody that actually played the Pokemon
Yeah.
card game. We just collected them.
Yeah, I remember people going, my Venusaur can beat your Blastoise. I'm like, but you're not actually playing the game.
But you don't even know how to play the game.
It is a fun game when you learn how to play it. I mean, it was. I don't know if I know all the rules to the Pokemon card game now, but back in the day, I could play it. And we were younger, my brother and I, with our Pokemon cards, we actually would play just a version of War with it. Like,
Nice.
if that Pokemon was stronger than the other Pokemon, you won the card.
Nice.
The strongest Muffin said, everything. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed.
You might not be the strongest tool in the shed, Muffin, but you are the strongest Muffin. So you're the strongest Muffin in the plastic clamshell container from Walmart.
Sebastian Diaz said, League of Legends, I reach Masters and it's so hard. Again, another game I wish I would like. Here's the thing. I'm just not into cooperative games or online games. I like
You're
to
not-
play my game.
You're not very cooperative.
I'm not very cooperative. I like to play my game, beat it, and move on to the next game.
Same. I'm the same way.
If I'm going to like board games, I'll get really good at a board game. But when it comes to actual video games, just League of Legends, I had a roommate who played a lot of League of Legends when I was in college, and
He lolled a lot. He was a loller.
he was a loller. You met him once. He was at my wedding. He was in my wedding party. So, my friend Matt.
But yeah.
Butterside said, y'all ever have to spend less and less on the internet and eventually just have to put down online gaming altogether? Biggest pride killer of my life.
Yeah, that's why I only play single player story
Yep.
games, Butterside, so I can suck at them and then nobody cusses me out online.
Even now, I put a lot of my games into easy mode because kids, you'll learn this as you get older and have kids. You don't have as much time for gaming, so I don't want to struggle. I don't have time to struggle. I just want to enjoy a good story, a good mechanic, and just have some fun. So
Agreed.
I put a lot of my games on easy mode. I usually won't do story mode like the easiest on lots game. It'll just be the one that says a little challenge.
Yeah, video games like that are just power fantasies for me. I just want to go through and destroy everyone in my path.
And then KV Bargov said competitive Pokemon. Again, something else I don't have the power to try to learn how to do is be competitive with Pokemon. Have you ever seen a competitive Pokemon like create their team?
No, but I can only imagine.
Yeah, you have to get the Eevees right and not the Pokemon, or the Ivies right. Their nature's right, the right move. It's at this point, you're taking one of my favorite things in the world and making it math. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I don't. I just enjoy this. And then we had a couple answers on our TikTok. Mr. Jiffy said Guitar Hero.
Guitar Hero is so strange because like there are songs on Guitar Hero that I know how to play on a real guitar that I can't play on Guitar Hero. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Guitar Hero was big when I was in high school. We had Guitar Hero when people would come over all the time. I know even in college, one of my best friends and I would go on when we were both home at the same time, and we would like go through the story mode of all the songs. And there's certain songs I remember being really good at. And it's funny, there are even some songs I hear them, and yes, it's a very popular song, but the only concept I have of it is because it's on Guitar Hero. War Pigs, is that one? That was one that I always hear.
Front Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Yeah, that song
I
rules.
always think of
I know how to play that song on actual guitar. Never play it on Guitar Hero.
yeah, well, I only know that song from Guitar Hero. Draconian Wolfmage said, Minecraft PvP. I thought studying Technoblade's videos made me a PvP expert. I got stomped, but all I said was GG because I know when I get outplayed.
I understood about 3 words of that sentence, of that response.
Well, Josh, PvP stands for player versus player.
What about Technoblade? I assume
I have
that's a
no idea.
YouTuber.
I assume that's a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
GG means good game. I got that far.
I do know GG.
Kate in our Discord said, after raising my first kid at age 8, I thought I was a really good parent. To be fair, I was pretty great, but child number 2 was just the complete opposite kind of kid, and I realized I was only good at parenting my first kid. Kid number 2 absolutely humbled me, but I caught up.
I'm sure you're a great parent, Kate. Just to make it clear, Jeff, you said after reading her response, you said after raising my first kid at age 8. Not, she said to age 8. Kate was not raising her first child at the age of 8. She was an adult, I assume.
Sorry.
We don't want to misrepresent Kate here on the show. She's the only thing that keeps us somewhat based in reality.
But going on that, I have 2 kids of my own, and they are complete opposites of each other. There was one day, I can't remember what my youngest Zoe was doing, and I haven't really talked about Zoe as much on the podcast because when we stopped recording the first time, she was just a baby. Now she's 4, but she was doing something and Jesse and I were getting dinner ready or something, and I look at her, Jesse, and I go, this is the one we're going to be having a meeting with the principal about, isn't it?
I was gonna say, is Zoe like the little emo one? Because all my out of all the second child or children that my friends have, they're always the one that are like the little emo, always angry about things.
Let's just say my oldest, Kyrie, who is 10, is very sensitive sometimes, and the 4-year-old knows how to make her cry and does it on purpose.
I'm laughing. Nah, it's pretty funny.
She got in trouble at daycare for calling someone a poopy head.
Wow.
And then when we said you don't say poopy head, next time she got in trouble for calling them a stupid head. So she's
it won't be long before she really gets in trouble.
yeah.
She's working her way up.
I'm like, if you're gonna get in trouble for swearing, you might as well have just gone all out.
I know.
All right, and then I wanted to end this segment with a question we got from Strongest Muffin on our YouTube channel. And he said, I have a question. If you make the podcast like really big, what will be the first thing you would do? Take the money and run.
You'll never see me again. Never, ever again.
You know what?
You'll never hear my voice cracking again.
But in all seriousness, if this ever became big and we got like invited to like an anime convention or something as a panel, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I would be down with that. I feel like a live show would be really fun.
A live show would be fun. One of my dreams is to one day interview Veronica Taylor. So yeah, Veronica Taylor, if you're hearing this, please reach out to me. You actually reached out to me way back in the day when we started this podcast. You said you would love to have an interview. I'd love you to hold up that end of the bargain.
One day.
One day. All right, Josh, and with all of that, let's go into our next segment.
Education. It got really high. Got really high on the last one there.
And Kate said there's no big education moments for this one, but a random factoid. The there is no spoon scene in The Matrix is also inspired by Uri Geller.
Nice. We're gonna talk a little bit about The Matrix in a second, but
we are.
Well, I'll just say what I need to say when we get to it.
Okay. So don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Pokemon Snapshot or send us an email at thepokemonsnapshot@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube and TikTok. Just search for the Pokemon Snapshot. We post short clips on both platforms. And if you'd rather watch the full episode, the complete video is available on our YouTube channel. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a rating on your favorite listening app so other Pokemon fans can discover the podcast. All right, so Josh, and then our next segment.
I don't know if I can get deep enough for this one. Let me get all the mucus out. It's been dark green for a couple days. Previously on Pokemon.
All right, so last week, Ash lands on Mandarin Island, loudly proclaiming himself unstoppable and invincible, which is bold considering he has only won 3 matches, and immediately sets his sight on Prima, the anime's version of Lorelei, who is visiting to give a battle demonstration. While Misty fangirls and the camera makes some very deliberate choices about how to introduce Prima, Ash challenges her mid-nature monologue and gets ignored, so he storms off to prove himself against a random trainer. Squirtle manages to outplay a Thunderbolt using Persian before getting flattened by Tauros, who we have dubbed Charles. And Ash, believing he has Charizard under control now, which he does not, unleashes
He
him
does not.
to predictable fire-breathing disaster. Prima steps in with Slowbro to disable the Charizard and later agrees to a proper one-on-one battle where Pikachu faces Cloyster, not a euphemism, and gets cleanly defeated after Cloyster tanks Pikachu's assault. Prima uses the loss to explain that mastery isn't about bragging rights or badge counts, but discipline, self-awareness, and trusting your Pokemon. A lesson Ash needs more than he'd like to admit. Team Rocket attempts to interfere, gets instantly frozen by Jinx, and blasts off, leaving Ash humbled, lectured, and pointed towards his next Orange League gym with a slightly bruised ego and a slightly stronger understanding of what being a trainer actually means.
We won't tell you how Prima pointed him to the next gym.
All right, and now on to this week's episode, which is titled Wherefore Art Thou, Pokemon? Or as it was called in Japanese, the Nidoran's Love Story. I like the English one better.
Yeah, I do too. It took me way longer than I like to admit as an English teacher for the story and the title to click.
So this episode aired on June 10th, 1999 in Japan and on April 22nd, 2000 in the United States. And to give you a little bit of snapshot so you can put yourself into that weekend, the top song was Bye 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 by NSYNC still. How long do you think this is going to be the top song for?
We may be out of the Orange Islands before it's off the charts, Jeff.
It was a pretty popular song back then. And then the
I
top...
remember dancing to it at my 5th grade dance.
You're old.
I know. You're older than I am. What are you talking about?
And then the top movie at the box office that weekend was a movie called You 571.
I've never heard of
Never
this
heard
movie.
of it. It's about a German U-boat. I'm guessing it's either World War I or World War II centered, and I don't really watch those type of movies, but it was popular enough to be the most top grossing movie that weekend.
Oh, Matthew McConaughey was in it.
Okay. All right. The top, and then just because I found these facts last week, I just kind of like to put them in there. The top video sales was The Matrix, which was
Nice.
funny that Kate mentioned The Matrix because she didn't know we were going to talk about it.
Yeah, so all I have to say about The Matrix, I probably saw The Matrix. I would have been 10 at this time when it came out. I would have just turned 10, less than a month before this came out. This episode came out in the United States, so it was probably like 2002 that I first saw The Matrix for the first time. But if you've never seen The Matrix, it might not blow your mind now, just because so much since then has been inspired by The Matrix. But at the time, I cannot explain to you how mind-blowing of a movie The Matrix was. It's still a great movie, but at the time, seeing those bullets, like the bullet time, like flying through the air, absolutely ripped my mind apart.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I've seen The Matrix. It's been years, so I haven't seen it in years, and I don't think I've seen any of the sequels.
The sequels are definitely not as good, but the first one is like probably a top 5 movie of all time for me.
All right, and then the top DVD sales, like last week, was still The Sixth Sense. Nothing exciting was happening on television. The top rated show was a rerun of, I can't remember the show. There was some world news, but there was actually a pretty big world news. I didn't put it in here because it was kind of sad world news, and I don't want to get the facts wrong. But the world news I saw I remember it being all over the news when it happened. All right.
What?
So
Wait, you didn't even say what the news was.
So let me try to remember because I didn't put this. Do you there was a kid from somewhere in the Caribbean that his parents
Elian
were
Gonzalez?
yeah,
Yeah.
he was found the day this episode aired.
Yeah, I remember all that.
Found in the closet or whatever his family was hiding him in to keep him from his parents and so he was returned to his parents on this day.
Nice. That's a
Yeah.
happy ending to the terrible story.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was kind of a terrible story. I don't remember the full thing, but I remember it was big enough that I remember like every day. My parents, even to this day, are still big news watchers. And I remember it just being on the news every day.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So, Josh, after that, let's get into the episode.
Let's start. Wherefore Art Thou, Pokemon? As the episode begins, Team Ash walks through a quaint little island town on their way to the next Orange Island gym. Ash comments that the town is like a history book, and Misty says it's like merry old England. And clearly, she's never read a book ever if she thinks that England is like that. Like, Charles Dickens' entire bibliography is about how much England sucks. Like, everyone's poor, everything's covered in horse manure. All the people on the horses were just like pooping at one end of the River Thames, and all the peasants were downstream just lapping up poop water with ladles and stuff. The average lifespan was like 40. It was a horrible place to live. Victorian London has to be like the top 3 worst places and time periods to live in the history of the world after Black Plague era Europe and Iowa at any point in history.
Yeah, that's saying a lot coming from a guy who currently lives in Alabama.
Fair enough.
We used to actually joke with my friend Tyler, the previous co-host who lived in Western Iowa, like it was an entirely different country.
Mm-hmm.
We would joke that he doesn't have running water, and that's why he escaped to Eastern Iowa. We also would say that they spoke Wookiee over there. I do want to mention, and I'm surprised you didn't pick up on this. So every episode, and we usually don't say what the narrator says, but the narrator starts off this episode by saying, after coming off a big victory over Pokemon Master Prima.
He did not beat Prima.
No, he did not have a big victory. He was destroyed like Alabama was during the Rose Bowl this year.
See, I know you're trying to like pull one over on me because I made fun of Iowa, but you have no power over me here, Jeff, because I don't even know who Alabama played in the Rose Bowl because I don't care about football. Also, this is like historic levels of revisionist history. This is like Trump administration levels of revisionist history, trying to say that he came off a big victory against the Pokemon Master Prima.
Yeah, no, she beat him soundly.
Shortly after their arrival, some girl loses her female Nidoran. Ash doesn't even know that there were male and female Nidoran, which is surprisingly woke of him. But his Pokedex says that the female Nidoran's horns are smaller than the male's. I think the female Nidoran should be proud of the size of her horn. After all, it's not the size of the horn that matters, but the hype of the Fury Swipe.
Are you proud of yourself for that one?
So very proud. The girl says her Nidoran's name is Maria, and it's always funny to me when people name their Pokemon like regular people's names, like they do with pets. Like, all of my dogs have old lady names, but Betty and Josephine can't electrocute people or breathe fire. But as we find out that she is missing her Nidoran, it's time to roll the credits.
Wherefore art thou, Pokémon?
Before we go on, I do want to say in the Japanese version, Maria was actually called Mary, and the male Nidoran, who we will eventually meet, was named John, not Tony. So they were Mary and John. I just like how the Japanese version just chose the most like American names.
They're like even more American names than Maria and Tony. Team Ash searches the forest for the lost Nidoran. And Jeff, can we get audio of the search that's going on here?
Here, Nidoran. Where are you, Nidoran? Here, girl. Why don't you try calling its name, Sherlock? Oh, yeah, that might work. Maria! Oh, Maria! Pikachu!
I do want to say, do you notice that during this whole scene that was just played, that Not Brock is not even helping?
Well, that's because Brock would have helped, but because he's not Brock, he doesn't help.
Also, I do want to bring up that before Misty mentioned that maybe should actually use her name, I was writing the same note in like where I keep my notes. So I'm glad to see out of all of Team Ash, I was on the same wavelength as Misty.
Oh, for sure. I would love to see you in a red wig like that, Jeff. This search for Maria makes me feel like I'm in a 90s Brooks and Dunn song. And if you don't know what song I'm talking about, it goes a little something like this. Jeff, play as much of this song as you can without getting us copyright striked. I really had to bring a little bit of the innocence and nostalgia of the 90s to this episode. Pikachu sees some pink fruit and gets distracted while some goober in a red sweater vest and shorts so short they would make Gen Z blush shows up looking for his Nidoran named Tony. The kid must be a huge Sopranos fan. The boy and girl start hitting each other with sticks, arguing over the worst Pokemon in existence. I hate Nidoran.
You know, me too, but just to let you all know, Josh is completely underplaying this scene. The two kids start arguing with each other, and then for no reason. And then while they're there arguing with each other, they just start picking up these sticks and started whacking each other with them.
It's funny because I usually way exaggerate the scene going on. Speaking of me exaggerating scenes, Meryl reports back that it found the Nidoran, and Team Ash and the stick wielders find them hidden in the bushes going at it like hippies at Woodstock. So it's not exactly like that, but it's also not like that either. Jeff, you know why Nidoran have all those horns, right?
Why?
Because they're horny. Misty says that the Nidoran are in love, but Goldilocks and Mr. Shorty Shorts, whose names are Emily and Ralph, but I will not be calling them that, take the lovebird Pokemon away from each other, setting up a real Montague and Capulet dynamic. And I can only hope that these two Nidoran meet the same fate as Romeo and Juliet, because Nidoran is truly the worst.
I will say, it was honestly very cute when we saw the two Nidoran. The Nidoran kept making these noises, which I will say I did like their noises. And fun fact, they kept the Japanese noises. Those were the Japanese voice actors. And then one grabbed a rose for the other, and then she ate the rose. Ironically, I did the same thing when Jessie gives me flowers.
Goldilocks and Mr. Shorty Shorts take their Nidoran away from one another, saying they'll never see each other again, which seems weird because it turns out that they live right next door to each other. A little later, some random chef explains to Team Ash that Goldie and Mr. Shorty Shorts have had a rivalry since they were kids, which I can guarantee also means that they're in love. Out in the street, Team Ash sees a Nidoran run by, and can we get Not Brock's reaction along with some of the Nidoran conversation that's literally the Wherefore Art Thou Romeo scene? And this is a little embarrassing, but this is the part of the episode where I put together what was actually happening in the story with the title Wherefore Art Thou Romeo or Wherefore Art Thou Pokemon. It all made sense to me here.
Can I ask, did you put that Romeo and Juliet, Capulet, and Montague joke in before you got the reference?
Yes, I did.
All right, well, here is that scene.
Huh? There goes a Nidoran! I think it might be Tony. Huh?
See, they're cute.
What are they doing? Just listen to them, Ash. They're both talking sweet talk. How do you know that? Well, I can just tell. Because I'm a romantic. I have a natural understanding of matters of the heart. Yeah? How come? You're not mature enough to understand. I am too. Well, someday you'll grow up. I already am grown up.
This ought to cool you off, Romeo.
Misty said it was sweet talk. Misty, I think they call that pillow talk.
Okay. Did you also notice that the Nidoran are named Tony and Maria because those are the two main characters from the musical West Side Story?
Did not pick up on that either until you texted me about it a few days ago.
Which, the musical West Side Story is also based on Romeo and Juliet.
How do you solve a problem like Maria? Is that West Side Story or is that a different musical? I don't know. It doesn't
I don't
matter.
know. We need Kate. Is that
Yeah,
or
Kate, help us. We're stupid.
I'm gonna search on this one.
Okay. So we heard the part where Misty says that they're sweet talking, pillow talking because they're romantic. So then she decides to make something that is none of her business into her business like a true Karen and become a Poké-matchmaker. Or do they just call that a breeder?
Okay, so how do you solve a problem like Maria is from Sound of Music, not West Side
Oh,
Story,
okay.
but there's a
Okay.
Maria in that musical too. This whole episode definitely feels like the late 90s, early 2000s. Misty, just from the Misty keeps saying she understands what is going on because she is a girl and girls understand love, while Ash is just a kid and a boy and doesn't understand yet. There is a part where Misty goes, "Love is the most important thing in the world." And Ash goes, "Not more important than catching Pokemon." And Misty says, "You're such a big baby, Ash," which kind of like he did in what we played. He goes, "I'm not a baby. Am I, Pikachu?"
In the whiniest way he could.
Yeah.
You'll have to forgive me getting West Side Story and well, what was the other one?
Sound of Music.
Sound of Music. Except I crossed my Rogers and Hammerstein with my Leonard and Bernstein. Got them mixed up. Nearby, Team Rocket overhears that there is a male and female Nidoran for them to steal, which James compares to getting 2 gifts in your stocking from Santa. But I'd say it's more like Santa skipping the coal and emptying Rudolph's litter box right into your stocking. Then Jessie says she's got the booby prize, and I have no idea what that means, but I do know that she missed out on that in the Prima episode.
I had the exact same comment. My notes literally say, "No, Jesse, that was last episode." And real quickly, I do want to mention that when they are talking about stealing the Nidoran, it shows the 2 Nidoran being like packed up like a gift set,
Mhm.
which they are supposed to be looking like Japanese food, which again, my Japanese pronunciation sucks, but it's kohaku manju, which are red and white steamed buns that are a traditional Japanese treat, usually given to people during births, graduations, or other occasions where you might want to celebrate someone's life.
It says it's given to people during births. All I can picture is like a woman they're being like, push! And then they're like, hold on, wait, ma'am, here is your kohaku manju. Push! Whatever the booby prize means, it takes us right into
Who's that Pokemon?
All right, and our Who's That Pokemon this week is Nidoran Male. I'm glad I remembered to do that. I've been forgetting to put the Pokemon cries in there, but I think it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It also scares me every time.
Nidoran Male, who in Japanese is also just known as Nidoran Male, or however you say male in Japanese, I don't know. Some basic information on Nidoran Male. It is number 32 in the Pokedex. It is a poison type. It is 1 foot 8 inches tall or long and weighs 19.8 pounds, and it is known as the Poison Pen Pokemon. And then it evolves into Nidorino at level 16, or when it falls in love, as we'll find out later. Its name. So the name Nidoran. The English name Nidoran is derived from the Japanese word nidone, meaning sleeping twice or going back to sleep. This reflects the species' early Pokedex descriptions, which mention its alertness and tendency to perk up at the slightest sound. The name was adapted into a short, creature-friendly format that works cleanly in English. What is Nidoran based off of? Nidoran Male is based on a hybrid of small mammals, primarily drawing from rabbits, rodents, and porcupines, with added fantasy elements to emphasize venom and aggression. So its primary animal influences are rabbits, the large upright ears, the compact body shape, the quick alert posture. Nidoran Male silhouette strongly resembles a rabbit, especially in how it stands and reacts. Its ears are frequently referenced in Pokedex entries as being highly sensitive to sound, very rabbit-like behavior.
I would have never compared a Nidoran to a rabbit.
Well, you can see like the giant ears it has.
I mean, I guess now that you mention it, I can,
Yeah.
but it's
That's
like
why
a
I'm
little
here.
spiky rabbit.
That's why I'm here to educate you. It's also based on rodents such as mice and hamsters, the small round body, the prominent incisors, and the burrowing tendencies. Its facial structure and overall proportions lean into rodent territory, reinforcing its early route small mammal design. And then the porcupine and hedgehog, its spines and venomous barbs, defensive posture, and while Nidoran male doesn't have large visible quills like its evolution, its body is described as covered in toxic barbs. This connects it thematically to porcupines, small but dangerous if touched. Nidoran's biology. Nidoran male is a small quadrupedal mammalian Pokemon with a pinkish purple body marked by darker patches. It has large spiny ears with teal interiors, bright red eyes, and prominent front teeth. 3 rows of large spines run down its back, with the center row standing taller than the others. These spines can release potent poison when Nidoran male feels threatened. A long pointed horn extends from its forehead, and the size of this horn is said to reflect its strength of its venom. Nidoran male is an exclusively male species, hence the name.
It's not the only horn that it has. And it's whose size reflects its strength of its venom.
A highly alert Nidoran male constantly uses its large ears to monitor its surroundings. Specialized muscles allow its ears to swivel in any direction, ensuring that even the faintest sound does not go unnoticed. To detect noises from farther away, it can flap its ears like wings to amplify distant sounds. When angered, Nidoran male extends its toxic spines and charges at its opponent, striking with its horn to inject poison. Despite its small size, it is notably brave and will risk its life to protect Nidoran female. Nidoran male is typically found in open habitats such as savannas and plains. And here's the thing, I've looked at Nidoran, well, obviously this episode, but I've always felt like Nidoran male and Nidoran female don't really look like they have horn. Nidoran male has a horn, but they always mention Nidoran female's horn, and I don't think they have a horn.
I just do everything I can to not look at a Nidoran. I just want to forget that they exist.
All right, so going on to some Pokedex entries. Red and Blue says, stiffens its ears to sense danger. The larger its horns, the more powerful its secreted venom. Pokemon Yellow says, its large ears are always kept upright. If it senses danger, it will attack with a poisonous sting. Pokemon Stadium says, its large ears sense danger. It extends its toxic spikes when angry. The size of its body's horn indicates its toxicity. Pokemon Gold says, it is small, but its horn is filled with poison. It charges and stabs with the horn to inject poison. Pokemon Silver says, it raises its big ears to check its surroundings. It will strike first if it senses any danger. Pokemon Crystal says, it constantly moves its large ears in many directions in order to detect danger right away. Ruby and Sapphire says, the male Nidoran has developed muscles for moving its ears. Thanks to them, the ears can be freely moved in any direction. Even the slightest sound does not escape this Pokemon's notice. A Fire Red says its large ears are flapped like wings when it's listening to distant sounds. It extends toxic barbs when angered. A Diamond and Pearl says it scans its surroundings by raising its ears out of the grass. Its toxic horn is for protection. Again, a lot of these say the same. Whenever I pick Pokedex entries, I just pick ones that are different, but sometimes they do end up saying the same thing. Pokemon Sword says the horn on a male Nidoran's forehead contains a powerful poison. This is a very cautious Pokemon, always straining its large ears. Then Pokemon Shield says, small but brave, this Pokemon will hold its ground and even risk its life in battle to protect the female it's friendly with.
Wow.
That's one way to put it, the female it's friendly with. All right, and that is our Who's That Pokemon segment on Nidoran Male.
Who's that Pokemon?
I'm going to say this is probably the quickest Who's That Pokemon segment we've had since we started back up.
Yeah, it's because the Nidoran sucks.
Yeah, like even Rattata was exciting.
I know. Like a 100 or however many pound like 3 foot tall rat is way more exciting than a horny rabbit, because based on everything I know about rabbits, based on everything I know about rabbits, which is only this one single thing, they're always horny, and because they're always procreating.
All right.
Back in the episode, Misty writes identical letters to Goldie and Mr. Shorty Shorts because she, rightly, says that they actually really like each other. And Tracy says that's just like Misty and Ash. I'm calling him by his real name here because he's earned it just this once.
Yeah, and Ash and Misty immediately get defensive about this. Like, that's not what that's like.
That's exactly what it's like,
Actually,
Ash and Misty.
I think their exact words were, "Are you crazy?"
Mm-hmm. We are not, Ash and Misty. Back with Team Rocket, Jessie laments the times that she's had her heart broken because she's mean and nasty and evil. Meowth says she's a nut job, and then Jessie proves it through physical abuse. Meowth attempts to lure Maria and Tony out with the promise that they can be together, but it doesn't work because the Nidoran are nerds who won't disobey their trainers. So Jessie implements Nidoran plan number 2, which is just good old-fashioned Poké-napping.
And I do want to say, during that, Jesse's exact words are, "I can't find anyone to love me because I'm mean and nasty." At least she's self-aware.
Yeah, she knows. Misty's meddling in Goldie and Mr. Shorty Short's relationship backfires because it seems like they actually do really hate each other, which is refreshing on a show where the power of friendship usually conquers all. I can admit that I was also wrong about them. So go ahead and laugh it up, Jeff. It doesn't happen very often. Jessie shows up as the groom and James as the bride for a phony matrimony. And Jeff, let's get some sound of the Team Rocket motto here.
Oh, congratulations!
Congratulations!
On this, our sunny wedding day,
There's a funny trick we'd like to play.
our matrimony
Is a total phony. Huh? Now we'll take these Pokemon away!
Tony! They've got Maria! You're no bride and groom!
Prepare yourself for trouble, kid!
and make it doubler than you ever did.
To protect the world from devastation.
To unite all peoples within our nation.
To denounce the evils of truth and love.
To extend our reach to the stars above.
Jesse!
James,
Team Rocket, blast off at the speed of light!
surrender now or prepare to fight.
Hurry up and cut the cake!
As they say their motto, they begin to rise on top of a giant wedding cake, which splits open to reveal their getaway hot air balloon. They fly away, but leave a bunch of aluminum cans as a trail that Team Ash immediately follows and catches them as they try to force Tony and Maria into wedding outfits.
I like the aluminum cans. So the reason they're aluminum cans is it's just like you would tie to the back of your car after a wedding. I don't know. Do people still do that?
I assume probably not because it's like guaranteed littering, but I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, people used to do that back in the day.
But yeah, for sure.
Also, as the cans are falling, James goes, "I guess I should have tied them a little tighter." And Jessie says, "I should have dropped you off the balloon instead."
Team Rocket sends out Arbok and Victreebel, but Maria and Tony use the power of love to hack, slash, and fury swipe their way to victory. Team Rocket hops back into their balloon to make their escape, but Pikachu and Staryu send them blasting off once again. Misty tells Goldie and Mr. Shorty Shorts that they shouldn't keep Maria and Tony apart, so their compromise is to build them a little bordello in between their houses. Maria and Tony kiss and evolve into Nidorino and Nidorina, which means they're going to be hornier than ever. And now that they have the best little whorehouse in Kanto, do you know what song Tony is going to be singing all night? Hit it, Jeff. The innocence of the 90s.
Someone's going to be horny there. Actually, and I don't think it's who we think it is, because did you see how excitedly Not Brock was drawing in his sketchbook?
He had to capture the moment.
Even Misty was blushing when she looked at it.
Not Brock wonders if Tony and Maria evolved from the battle or from the kiss. Ash wonders if a kiss can really change a person, to which Misty replies, "Guess we'll have to find out ourselves." And that takes us to the end of the episode.
That's kind of a weird thing to say. Is she implying something here?
Think she might be, Jeff.
Well, you know what Not Brock said, so I guess. All right, so what were your thoughts on this episode?
It was a pretty decent episode. I'd give it like, I don't know, an 8 out of 10. I took off 2 points because they didn't fully commit to the ending of Romeo and Juliet. It might have been a 10 out of 10 if they had gone there, but they didn't.
Honestly,
What about you?
Honestly, never cared for this episode. So at least during the first, Kanto and Orange Islands, when I see an episode title, I kind of know what I'm getting into.
Mm-hmm.
I've never cared for this episode. Ralph and Emily are unlikable, and obviously their parents don't care that their kids are going around hitting each other with sticks, because we didn't say it again, but it happened twice in this episode. Just flat out attacking each other with sticks. It could also be because I'm not a Shakespeare fan. I mean, I hate Shakespeare.
That's stupid. That's I'm not even going to say that's stupid, Jeff. I'm going to say that's ignorant.
I'm sorry. Real quick, I'm going on a quick tangent. There is a musical I really want to do called Something Rotten, which is all about the main character is a bard who is writing these plays, but gets so mad because Shakespeare's getting all the fame. And so, like, his main song he sings is called God, I Hate Shakespeare.
Is it Christopher Marlowe?
I have no idea, but it's called
He was a contemporary of Shakespeare. Okay, Jeff, since you say you hate Shakespeare, do you like The Lion King?
Okay, yes, we know that's Hamlet. And yeah, if all Shakespeare plays were given by lions, maybe I'd like it. But back to my rating on this, I give it a 4 out of 10. And one of those points is because the noises the Nidoran make are really cute. So let's just say 3 out of 10.
All right, fair enough. So what about the question of the week?
All right, our question of the week this week, because of what this episode was around, is what is your love language?
Mine, I think, is gift giving. I love giving a good gift. I feel like I've given you some good gifts before.
There's a couple on this shelf behind me.
I got that copy of Conker's Bad Fur Day for you.
Yeah, and it's up there. Also, you got me a copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project. That's also up there.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That's when you left Canada, so you left me.
I know, I'm sorry. But here we are again together.
Here we are.
Because of the internet.
Yep.
What about you? What's your love language?
Mine is, I would say, I like doing things with people.
Yeah, you do.
I feel like just going out, or even if it's Jesse and I will joke, it's, doing something separately but together. So she'll read a book or be watching TV, and I'll just be playing my Switch or something, just the proximity, or just going out and doing something, just the two of us, or even...
It's quality time.
Yeah. I'll be honest, gift giving, and Jesse knows this, gift giving gives me anxiety because, I don't know, in my head, I'm like, are they going to like it? What if my gift costs less than what their gift was? And I know people don't care, but in my head, people care.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, so don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Pokemon Snapshot, or send us an email at thepokemonsnapshot@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube and TikTok. Just search for The Pokemon Snapshot. We post short clips on both platforms. And if you'd rather watch the full episode, the complete video is available on our YouTube channel. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a rating on your favorite listening app so other Pokemon fans can discover the podcast. Also, in the show notes, you can find our Discord channel where we have conversations every now and then, and we would love to get more people down in our Discord. You can find it if you're listening on YouTube or any podcast app. It is in the notes. All right, Josh, you have anything else to add?
Get well soon, mate.
All right, please join us next time when we will be watching Get Along, Little Pokemon.
We all live in a Pokemon world.